wonderful things. Please, we ask your blessings on the employees, first responders, and all the safe. We ask your blessings on this council and our mayor. That we make decisions tonight for the betterment of others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
If you remain standing, I'd like to ask my friend Kane Albee to bring his class for the TK Stone Middle School up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, there's a pledge. Oh.
Okay, you all ready to go? All right, I'm gonna start, sorry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job, good start, and I think we're going to have some of the same students from Mr. Albee's class talk to us a little bit about a crosswalk presentation.
Oh. Pass it back. See him.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
My name is Erin Willoughby. I am an 8th grade student who is in Mr. Albee and Mrs. Phelps' class at TK Stone Middle School. I would like to speak with you today about talking crosswalks. We need talking crosswalk in Elizabethtown because it can help people who have low vision to hear and be able to help them cross the street safely. Normally, talking crosswalks tell you the name of the street you are crossing and when it is safe to go, which allow people who are blind or have low vision navigate where they are going. In Mr. Albee's class, we take field trips to downtown Elizabethtown. If we get talking crosswalk, it will be easier to know when it is safe to cross the street. It will also allow people like me to explore downtown without a guide all of the time. The talking crosswalks need to be loud enough for people to hear the talking crosswalks would also tell us when it is safe to cross the street or beep when it is unsafe. They also tell you the name of the street you are crossing to help us know for sure which way we are going. In case we cannot read the print signs. Even thought the talking crosswalks are expensive, it would make Elizabethtown a safe and more inclusive community, allowing all people to access our downtown area safely. It will allow our city to be more accessible for all citizens. Thank you.
All right, we want to thank the council for letting us come present to you today. This is a project that we've been working on for quite some time in my classroom, and along with students from Western Kentucky University, working on this project to make Elizabethtown more accessible to individuals regardless of their ability level. It has become near and dear to us as we've put in a lot of effort and a lot of thought into this. So we want to thank you all for hearing us out on this. What you have in front of you is kind of a map of what we've detailed as some of the areas that might be beneficial to have talking crosswalks in the future. Looking at the downtown area along from Miles down to the circle or the square, sorry. But you know, the kids are excited. They were happy about this. They were passionate about it. So we're really happy to be here. Also, what you've been given is just an example, just a taste of what technology is out there regarding accessible pedestrian safety and signals. That's just one of the companies that provide these services. There are many, many more. As Aaron stated so nicely, we take a lot of field trips down there, exploring our wonderful community, our wonderful businesses, and having this safe, way to get there will allow us to teach more, past just waiting on an adult to go. How can you cross independently? How can you safely navigate the streets independently? So we want to thank you all for your time today, and we're good. Thank you.
Have you found there to be any grants available that might support and anything like this? Have you all come across any of those?
I know there's ADA money that can allow for this. As far as specific grants, I'm quite sure that there are. Off the top of my head,
I would be interested in knowing some of those.
Yeah, that's something we can definitely research.
Glad to help you put those up.
Great, thank you, Council.
What are the costs on these units?
So what I found on these were anywhere from, they range from about a 500 to your basic push beeping, the chirping per unit, but they range up to 2,000, 3,000. It depends on how high tech you want to go with them. But the ones that I was seeing for just the basic chirping that have different tones of chirps and distance between chirps, time between chirps, they were about the $500 range per.
How many units was it?
I forget how many are labeled on the map. We were looking at 11 intersections. Well, 4 intersections, but 11 individual pieces.
In your opinion, would we need one of the more sophisticated
pipes, or what do you think would be sufficient?
It's hard to, I mean, the ones that that you have in front of you connect via Bluetooth and can be accessible to anyone who may not know the difference between the chirps. There are, I think those are going to be more beneficial to those that may have cognitive delays. That will tell you, they directly say safe to cross or unsafe to cross. They tell you the street names. I think the street names would be extremely beneficial to have as well.
Yeah, I think, otherwise, I think you have maybe a decent functionality, but then you have an education process, because
Right.
everybody's not educated is what people say.
Right, and I think that's where, if you have, the street names are going to be the bigger, as far as kind of foregoing that learning curve. Having the street names being said would be the most beneficial, because at that point, somebody who is low vision or blind most likely will know the difference between the chirps through orientation and mobility, sorry. But for somebody with a low cognitive level, as long as they know the street names, we do a pretty good job, I feel like, teaching the difference between the signals. So,
I see where this is out of Texas. Have you come across anyone that has something similar to this in a closer vicinity that might be able to come and give us a presentation?
Ms. Phelps, who's the teacher of the visually impaired for E-Town, was just in a presentation. They have this specific company. There are companies that do,
Right.
obviously, all kinds, but they just had a representative come up and present at a conference last week. I don't know if I'm sorry. I don't know if they were based here in Kentucky, but I know that they are sending people here. I know this company specifically works in a lot of the major cities throughout the United States, LA, San Francisco. So you're looking at, so they've got they're pretty high volume customers, but.
I would be interested in hearing a salesman or someone from their company.
Yeah.
Around this area.
I would actually be interested in the city maybe developing a bit of a pilot project, maybe a program to see how they work, and maybe Mr. Abbott, we could get you involved in that.
I'm here.
And see what seems to work best and what testing. I was thinking, and Ed, you might be able to shed some light on this, but when Miss O'Brien Ellen, you came to me, was it a year ago or a year and a half ago, and needed some help with some sidewalks going down towards the grocery store from the school and also to the shopping center. If I'm not mistaken, we put some money in the budget for those things.
You all have put some money in the budget for us to look at Meadow Lane. Michael and I have talked about having a neighborhood meeting to look at that design.
I'm wondering if you guys were to have a choice as to, would you rather have those sidewalks, or would you rather see a pilot program get started on this to experiment with it a little bit? Wonder what would be a priority?
Just say yes.
Not to put you on the spot.
Just say yes.
I like a pilot program.
The pilot program?
Yeah, because that could benefit not just students, but the whole community,
Right.
I would say.
Well,
Both. That's the correct answer.
Well, the reason why I said that is if we've already got money, it just becomes an allocation process for us. We can go ahead and get started on the pilot project before we finish the sidewalk project, because when we just simply reallocate some of the funds.
Yeah,
towards
the crosswalks are a little more complicated just from the fact that all the signals and all the signage related to crosswalks are all on state right-of-way and controlled by the state highway department. So it's not just a city decision on that, but I mean, if the council would like for us to look into that and have some dialogue with the district office, then Michael and Don and I can do some follow-up that way and report back to you.
Would 31W be your first priority? 62.
Yes.
So in other words, if we started at a point, I was looking at, maybe up around St. James or someplace, going down to the square, or maybe
Yeah.
go past You know, anywhere on that main corridor going down through there, it might give us a place to where, you know, we can test it or.
Absolutely. The one, yeah, that right beside St. James, that's our biggest intersection that we have to cross from our walking trips. And that's one of the more difficult ones to navigate, just with the turns, the turning lights and everything else. So that's a difficult one for us.
I think that's close to the senior.
Yes.
Facility as well, so
Yes.
that would be
I mean,
benefit to both.
And I know the devil's in the details, but just as a general comment, I
I don't know that, that was the best.
No,
mean, so, I mean, I'm in favor of us looking into it. I think it's a great thing.
And I will tell you that I'm highly impressed with your class and the great job that you've done, and you taught them how to address a need or a concern the right way, and we really appreciate that, especially by putting a pretty young lady like that up there that's such a wonderful public speaker to get the message out, so.
Can't say no to her.
No,
No.
So great job, and we really appreciate you guys more than you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want to leave that board, that may be something we can look at here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we've, our students that helped us from Western, went out and took all the pictures at the different intersections.
Sure.
So,
If you'll just leave that up for a second, we won't be long, we'll walk over and look at it.
yeah,
If that's okay.
Thank you all for your also.
thank you.
Good job.
Go Tom.
Thanks.
Good job, Aaron.
Okay, Matthew, how did you get to follow that? Horizontal directional drills for the gas department.
We'd like for you to reallocate those funds so we can put these in.
Cost savings we have, that is a hard act to follow. Good afternoon. Basically, y'all should have got a memo talking about the directional boring machine. We opened bids 28th of February, and basically here to entertain questions, and if you don't have any questions, then we'll move forward and bring you an order next week.
No questions.
It's under budget.
It's under budget.
It's under budget.
That's the best thing about that.
I have a question, Matthew. I'm staying in a house on North Main, but I got a letter, or it's for the homeowner rather, I'll give it to them. But you're doing something with the gas lines, and there's something you can put on the gas lines, it's optional to do? What
Yes,
does that mean?
that's an excess flow valve.
Okay, what?
Basically, that's a safety device that goes on as close to the main as you can install it.
Okay,
And it's a safety mechanism that any new service that we install has to have.
okay,
So that letter is catching all the services that were basically grandfathered, so to speak. They started that requirement probably about 2010 or so, that all new services had to have them. And then the federal government doing what they do, they waited about another 5 to 10 years to say, hey, now you have to go back and catch all the ones that don't have it, and you have to offer an option for doing that. So you had 3 options on that. Basically, you could install one free of charge. You could install one for a flat fee, which is the choice that the city took,
right.
or you could charge actual cost on it. And that was brought to the council and discussed, and we've just been a little bit delayed in getting that out.
Okay. But you turn the gas off to the house.
Well, it's an automated thing. It's basically an inline valve that's a spring-loaded plug that's in the gas lines. So if your line were to be ruptured or cut in two, then it's going to automatically shut it off. So you don't have to have any human interaction with it to come shut the gas line off. It's going to shut it off as soon as it detects that you've got that break.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're starting, I guess those started going out last week, and we're starting to get a bunch of phone calls asking the same thing that you're asking. Yes, it's an option, and for $250, we'll come out and put one on anybody's line.
But it's mandatory on any new construction, so.
Correct.
Be wise.
Well, on any new residential, they don't put them on commercial for the most part. You can, but it takes a little more work to get them on a commercial because they're usually larger volume customers. So that's keeping in compliance with federal regulations that keep trickling down. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Jeff Hawkins, website updates.
rather follow Matthew than Mr. Alvin's class, that's for sure. I was asked to give a brief, emphasis on brief update on the website and our progress so far. We've been live for roughly a month, not quite a month now. And so far, I think it's going really well. We've seen things that we've tweaked here and there, and I think we had one department had kind of a major revision, but that was just after seeing some other departments, they wanted to change that a lot. We did give notification to our former provider a couple weeks ago saying that we were completely done and thanked them for their service over the years. And we have moved on, so that's a good thing. We've had a couple training classes. We had one large group, several people that may be doing updates. We met with the HCC folks and they gave us training. And we've also had a few individual sessions where we sat down with them and say, hey, these are some things we want to do. Can you show us specifically how to do them? So far, I've made some updates, but probably the two most active people on there, Officer Thomas with PD and Kelly Johnson. Both of them have really taken off, and they're doing a lot of things. We're actually trying to say everything other than the PD stuff go through Kelly. That way we have one person that we know is getting everything. That could be anything from job postings, news, anything we want it to all go to her, funnel to her first. Eventually we'll kind of spread it out a little bit more, but we just want to make sure that we are getting everything up there. Some of the things we're continuing to do is make sure all of our forms, like first enough, we didn't have all of our tax forms up there. One of those things, if you don't realize how many people access these things until they're not available. So it's things like restaurant tax forms, business tax forms, they're all out there now. It took us a little bit to get the process going, but they're all out there. Public service announcements. For example, Matthew with the excess flow valve. That is something that we had to get out there. He's got some other things that we needed to get out to the public right away. We've done them through mailers, but we can also say now, let's put them on the website. So we can say, okay, it's a checkbox that, yes, we're required to make this public. We have made it public. So we're doing that immediately. Looking at things like our ordinances, resolutions, municipal orders, they've always been on the website. Now we're trying to make sure we're going back and renaming everything. We want to make them into a consistent naming convention. We're trying to do like municipal orders are going to all start with MO and then the year and then the number. So we can sort, we can search file. Just trying to get that consistency, the same look. So you still have names. We've all looked at different directories and on computers where things are just every which way. We just want to be consistent to make it easier for the public as if they're looking for something, or if you're looking for something or me, that we can find it really quick. All of our job postings are being put on the website. We have applications on there. Be it a typical city job, police or fire, you can download the application. They go in and fill it out, bring it in when they come in. Working on getting those where you can actually fill them out on the site, being able to submit them electronically. We are taking some payments right now. Currently, it's only residing with events right now, but like cruising, if you want to register a vendor location or anything like that, you can actually register and pay online. Now, we're hoping that that's kind of a pilot issue to where we can eventually roll that out to where we can take payments for other things, even possibly even taxes. But we're not there yet, but it is a good trial for us. Next steps are continuing with the updates as we're doing, continuing monitoring our website and say, okay, is everything working like we expect it to? Maybe we want a different look on something. Starting to look at additional pictures. Pictures are easy, you think, but we got that really nice picture of the sunset on the front page. Eventually, we may want to change that. So we want to look at pictures, see what other things we want to look at to help promote our city. One thing with the contract with HCC, the contract is essentially almost over. Now, they'll still do some tweaking for us, but if we went to them and said, oh, we want to do something different, we want to add this new feature, that may be more of a time cost base. They've done what we've asked them to do. They've done a great job with it. They're still supporting us. But if we come to them and want a major revision, something other than what we've done in the past, then it could be at a different cost level. Only thing I can think of, and I'm just kind of thinking about it, we want to make sure, and I'm going to do that myself, running through some ADA checkers. Seeing Ms. Willoughby here speak really got me thinking. We want to make sure that our website is compliant, because it's supposed to be, that somebody who is visually impaired or hearing impaired has the same functionality as somebody who can see or can hear. That's one thing we want to do, and if it's not, that is part of the contract. We want to make sure that we get all those things squared away. So we may have Aaron go through our website and say, hey, what do you think of that? Let's see. Best thing to do is have somebody look at it. So,
I appreciate the work that you've done to get our meetings, closed caption.
Yeah, thanks to Eric. We know we're using some different things, we're using some different features. There's features out there that, like YouTube, for example, that can do a lot of this stuff that, rather than us do ourselves or have a third party do it, if it's the feature that's already out there, let's use it. So it seems to be going real well.
I went to the site while I was out and moved the mouse over and actually found where to click to do it. But, you know, that's something that, don't be afraid to really highlight the fact that it's available. You know, where you have any way to announce that, but it's definitely there. And I know there's people out there that can.
Yeah, I think we're getting good response so far from the public that we've seen. I haven't heard of any negative feedback.
No, I've heard positives, and thank you for the IT department for what you're asking.
I've been using maps a lot.
Yeah, that's a great feature.
I've been using the cemetery map specifically. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Pinpoint right on there, tell you who's buried there.
You know where you're going?
Know where you're going.
Jeff, is there any benefit to the city to go ahead and say to Heartland Communication, okay, once because we're so close, what's going to be the hourly rate? Or is there a package that they would cut us and say, hey, we'll give you 20 hours for X amount of dollars?
We can ask them, we haven't approached that yet, but we can definitely ask them and see. And they said, if we got something we need to do, like a tweak or something like that, that's definitely not a big deal. But if we went to them and said, oh, we changed our mind, we don't like the look of the whole site, we want to redesign, that's definitely gonna be a cost.
Right, absolutely.
Or if we say, hey, can you turn on this feature that we haven't done before, like we want to take a tax payment, that would probably be at a cost as well. But it's something that wasn't in the initial scope. But we've been real pleased with everything they've done, and they've been very receptive of questions, and if we needed help, coming over to our site and working with us.
On payments that we would take, say, for the vendors, are we adding that transaction fee on top of it? Just saying, for example, the vendor fee is $100 for a space somewhere. So you go to checkout, so it's $100 plus it's the $5.95 fee.
Yeah, I believe we are. I know we were, like, the way we were taking them before, we're on with credit cards.
Yeah.
But I'll verify that for sure, but I think we are, because we don't definitely don't want to eat a fee.
Right.
We don't have to, so.
I've been coming to the city council meetings for a long time, I guess for 3 or 4 years, and see that our discussions are really all feeding into what's called universal design, where we are incorporating ADA compliance, not because it's the law, but in our planning process and the thought process going forward. It's really good to see. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, I think the whole web presence, I think social media, Amy's doing a great job on social media presence as well.
We do this, it really helps our community.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Matt, you said you've been coming for a long time, and Marty, you've been coming for what, 18 years?
Yeah.
Tony's at 40. Here's a question I have. All the experiences you all have you ever known a city mayor to have the opportunity to introduce a Monday's man as the next speaker?
Never had. We've had great mayors too, all the time, and not one of them
I've got
been able to do this.
I got to tell you, I am very, very excited and honored to be able to introduce my friend Seth Breitner to tell us about fishing and
Monday's man,
Monday's man. Tell us where the property are.
We know from the legend.
He didn't even participate in St. Paul.
It's his.
I know y'all are making it much. Basically, I wanted to talk to you all about amending the current city ordinance for fishing in our lakes. The current ordinance was in 2002. It is different than the state ordinance, and that's where the confusion lies for us. It is impossible for us to enforce fish limits, sizes, and all of that out at the lake right now. The state changed their ordinance within the past few years, and like I said, our city ordinance right now is from 2002. So basically, I'm just asking that we change the language to say that we follow the state, and that way that if anything changes in the future, we're covered.
Is Councilman Thomas, Councilman Thomas, my leg,
No, it's impossible because a lot of times people will catch past the limit, or And they'll say, well, you know, this one says this one says that. What do we go by? So if we're just consistent with the state, and then it's hard, well, it's impossible for us to have Fish and Wildlife enforce that limit right now because there's two differing things. So if we put that all in line, we're covered.
Seth, didn't you tell Edna when we met and talked about this previously that it's kind of frustrating for the game wardens when they come and they try to enforce laws at the lake, and of course our set of rules is different than what they go by everywhere else, and they just would like to see it be more uniform. I think that's the point you're trying to get across, right?
Exactly, yes.
I think it makes sense personally.
And by putting that language that we follow the state, if that changes in the future, we're covered.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. Why your money's made.
There you go.
It's one of the many reasons.
Thanks, Seth. You're welcome. All right. March 18th meeting items.
Yeah, we gave you all some of the topics that we may be covering next week based on discussions this evening. As Seth pointed out, we've got to do an ordinance to make those changes. We'll do municipal order accepting Matthews of equipment and stuff. A couple of the topics that we've had left over from the last 2 or 3 weeks may come together too. So we may have some other items. The planning commission's had a hearing that I think is on your all's agenda, and then they'll have some later hearings later this month that you'll see next month. But kind of a relatively light agenda for next week. But like I said, there's a couple things that may happen this week, but we'll make sure we get explanations and all that out to you all before next Monday. One of the big things, though, I did want to point out to especially Matt and Virgil, we will have representatives from the water district here next week. Since the city sold the water company to them, they've been coming before the city council on an annual basis and just giving an update on usage and how the rate structure is working and those kind of things. So they'll be here next week for a presentation.
I guess they'll give us an update on the project, replacing the water lines from HMH towards downtown. I think I talked to Water District too about that.
They typically have given more of an overview report. I have not specifically talked to them, Matt, about, but they may list some of their activity from the past year. They don't get a whole lot into design projects for the future, but I mean, that may be some questions that you, I mean, they're generally very receptive to questions and discussion.
All right, anybody have any remarks, praises?
I just briefly, Mayor, bring greetings. Today is Air Board Day. I know all of you all have your transaction reports and things like that. Traffic was down a little bit in February. Of course, it's still winter months, and but they have said that they've had an awful lot of corporate type activity, kind of unmarked individuals come in that don't report who they're with or why they're here, and usually that's a sign that someone here is looking at some type of a commercial project of some kind, and they don't want their competitors to know that they're here. So we have no idea who they are, but there's a lot of that type of movement this past month. Also, we had a guest there today that was from a neighboring county, and he was with their air board, and they're really trying to improve and beef up their game at their airport. And he was told that if you want to see a good airport in action, you need to go to Elizabethtown. So he was at our meeting today, and we did our best to educate him on the proper way to do things. And then one other thing that was kind of cool, you know, there's those windows there at the boardroom out at the airport that look over the runway and the taxiway. A little helicopter came flying in there, and a guy was sitting out on the rail, riding on the rail, and looked pretty interesting. But you've seen on YouTube and different places where they inspect power lines.
It's an ocean.
They've been here all week, and he just rides around on that rail inspecting power lines. So He had quite a seat out there on that rail that's there.
Good for you.
Quite a skill set.
Mayor, I forgot to mention, and thanks to Virgil for pointing it out earlier, on the open prayer, Mike Miller, recovering from a heart attack recently, who serves on our civil service commission. Sure he knows. Our thoughts and prayers as he recovers from that. Oh, it's not. No, it's not.
I want to point out that one of our wonderful engineers down at City Hall is getting ready to go on maternity leave, and we're going to miss her for the next few months, but we wish her all the best, and we want to say early congratulations to Rita Davis, and we look forward to seeing her little. If you need anything, let us know. Yep.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you all. We're adjourned.